Hey, I'm Guy.
I'm John.
This is our YouTube channel. We're glad you're here. Subscribe to the channel. Give this video a like.
Check out the podcast also below in the description.
Wish we could be here with good news, John, but for the 49ers, not good news. Out of nowhere, Richard Sherman on IR, calf injury. Where did that one come from?
They've been dropping like flies, right,
Oh my
all
God.
year long. It's like you hit a
All
ball
year
out of
long,
bounds.
there's been one game, John.
Yeah, then the next hole you hit a ball out of bounds, and eventually you like hit a fairway and you take a deep breath. We made a video yesterday about Mohamed Sanu. Then the next hole you pump two out of bounds. To me, this one was a pretty big wow. My first reaction, Guy, Wednesday morning, you usually don't put a player. Now, IR, clearly not as bad during the COVID period with the 3 weeks. Typically, way back in the day, it meant a year.
Right.
Last several years, you could designate one to return, even though the Niners have about it'd be a battle for designation to return. So he can return in 3 weeks or 3 games. But man, he clearly got hurt in the game. But if I just had to give a unexpert medical opinion, they were probably hoping Monday, Tuesday it would get better. He checks in the facility this morning, probably realized I'm not in great shape, right? And clearly, we've talked about this before. Their schedule break, if you are going to operate with caution, even in the NFL, that's a very risky thing to do in general. Just we talk about all the time how hard just games are to win no matter who you're playing. But this is the couple-week stretch where you maybe try to take a deep breath. I mean, not ideal.
I mean,
they don't want to do this.
He's
clearly hurt.
Even if that's part of the thinking, right? Let's say you beat the Jets and the Giants. You're still coming home without Richard Sherman to play an offense that can be explosive in Philadelphia. They can also make plenty of mistakes. And the other part of it is that it's a double whammy. Apparently, Akello Witherspoon, Matt Burrows tweeted, suffered a concussion in the game. So, there's another one. The Niners signed Brian Allen, who's not had much NFL experience, to help take over. I guess they worked out a few guys on Tuesday. He was one of them, so he's the guy they signed. I think he spent a little time with the Seahawks before they let him go. But, the schedule, sure, it's fine. But this comes at a time when you're going to need a little more time for your pass rush to be what maybe it was last year. I know Kyle Shanahan was happy with Javon Kinlaw, but that's got to come along. Now you're asking guys, you're asking receivers to pull more weight. You're asking D linemen to pull more weight. You're asking now other corners to pull more weight. You're asking safeties and linebackers. I don't know how many of these can this team sustain. It's crazy.
Well, you got to score more points, right?
Yeah.
I think the pressure. I have confidence in the front four and really the front seven.
Yeah,
they'll be fine, especially these next couple opponents.
And the back two.
And the two safeties are very physical players. Tard had a pick in that game. Jimmy Ward has just, I don't know, out of nowhere turned into a really good player. I guess not out of nowhere. He's been a productive player now for a year and a half. One thing for Richard Sherman to go on IR, which the moment you read that tweet is a wow. To me, the follow-up, Akello Witherspoon, because you went, well, you got Mosley and Akello. You just got to get through these next couple weeks playing better. Akello Witherspoon would have been their starting corner guy. And he's a flawed player, but against the Jets – and against the Giants, say what you want, watching them against the Steelers, their wide receivers made a couple plays. They are clearly much better than the Jets in the passing game. Would you agree there from what you saw?
Yes.
The ability to just complete some balls down the field.
Yeah.
Now, I would imagine if Akello can't get cleared this week, he'll play in the Giants game. But, Guy, this is a little bit of a complicated situation. They're flying to play the Jets. They're not coming home. They're going to the Greenbrier, living like some kings, but –
Exclusive.
This is not an ideal situation to start the season. This is for a team bouncing back off a devastating Super Bowl loss. We knew it was going to be hard and clearly a bunch of injuries in training camp. That first game has already created some carnage. You got a knee sprain with George Kittle. Your best corner is now on injured reserve for 3 weeks. I'm kind of at a loss.
Best corner, and we should for whatever it's worth, a defensive leader, right, or just a team leader for that matter. So
one of the heartbeats of the team, right?
Going back, it's hard. Maybe by the time this video is out, somebody's identified where the injury happened. He didn't play. He only missed the last 4 snaps of the game, which is when Arizona took over after the Niners turned it over on downs, and 30 seconds left. They got a big run on first down, pick up first down on second down, and then the game's over. The last play he was on the field was the Kenyon Drake go-ahead touchdown. So he didn't get hurt on that play. It's hard to tell because the L-22 is not out, which I love to grind on, John. But
Coach Haberman.
The Kenyon Drake play, which came right after the DeAndre Hopkins almost touchdown. And it didn't look like he got hurt on that play, just from what you can see on the TV copy, because he wasn't really involved in either one of those plays. So it makes you think that he was on the field with this issue. Maybe the adrenaline wears off. Maybe he's just playing through it. Whatever, I don't know. But it's hard to tell exactly when or how it happened. Yeah.
I'd say a bigger picture thing with just Richard this season, it's pretty clear the Arizona Cardinals have a potent passing game. You got to play them again, right? They have a potent pass catcher and a potent pass thrower. Just, I don't know. Did you check out Seattle and the LA Rams?
Yep.
The Rams have 3 wide receivers in Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, and now Van Jefferson that are really good. The Seattle Seahawks, last I checked, Russell Wilson threw 4 touchdowns. Now, I think one of them, maybe 2 of them were to the running back, but DK Metcalf had a big touchdown. That was the guy that Richard checked last year. Like, this is a division.
Green Bay.
With just they play Green Bay. Even the Eagles in a couple weeks, depending on Alshon.
I mean, we're a ways away now, but Buffalo, yeah, Alshon. Even Jalen Reagor had one big play in that game. Plus, their quarterback's mobile, so you just need to have your head on a swivel for the entire play. Yeah,
he's very important for their season. Like, there's no way around it. And to me, the only way you can overcome if he's just battling injuries, let's say all week, or all season long, if this is something, is that pass rush. They could overcome it last year, right? Because that front with Buckner playing out of his mind, Eric Armstead, D Ford is going to have to be better than he just was. They're going to need pass rush out of Kinlaw. And as you see, Bosa plays his ass off, but one thing I noticed on Sunday was a little Khalil Mack Raiders, where it looked like he was the only guy kind of causing havoc up there. It's like the other guy's got to help him out. I feel very, very confident about 97.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need 91 to make some plays. You need 55 to just, even if D4 doesn't get a sack, just a couple plays a game to fly around, because at the end of the day, you only play Kyler Murray twice. Most guys can't do that. This week, Sam Darnold, even Danny Dimes, if you get around to get close, you're going to be able to sack guys like that. They're going to need to get the quarterback on the ground, because wouldn't you say that's the number one way to help a DB out is get a pass rush?
Yeah, but 3 games, the one they play against Kyler and the 2 they play against Seattle, that's three's a lot of games. They play Carson, you got to chase him around, right?
Play Cam.
Yep. Now is Cam making plays unscripted? We'll see, right?
Josh Allen late in the season's a runner.
Yeah. So I feel like we've been talking for 2 months about how many could they sustain another one? 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 Their defense got beat up, but for the most part, all those guys came back. Fred Warner was on the COVID list. He came back. There were some tweaks here and there. It was like, Bosa, Hammy, is he okay? Alexander, but those guys came back. The offense is where the guys have not come back yet, right?
No.
But
Richard had 3 picks last year.
and he just, how many times you don't see him because no one throws to him. They just stay away from him, right?
Well, didn't you notice that last game? They majority of the time put DeAndre Hopkins on the other side and just threw left. What happens now? I can throw left. I can throw right. It does expand. Well, the Jets can't, but other teams can.
The schedule again, John. It really, they can't do this all year. They can do this for a few weeks. I think your golf analogy is perfect. Like, you hit one down the middle, you think, it's just automatically fixed. Momentum took care of itself. It doesn't work like that. You have to actually fix it. Like, they have to be actually healthy for this to work out, because it's only week 2 now. We've gotten some questions because on our podcast, which is down below in the description, as John said, check it out if you're new here. We made the Niners our gambling lock of the week on Tuesday. Now, I think they went from -7 to -7.5. I still feel okay about it. This is not the game where it kills you. You should still be able to beat the Jets without Richard Sherman. You agree there?
Beat the Jets. I think you should control the Jets.
Again, because your offense should still be able to do whatever it wants to this team, and their offense is not good enough to keep up with yours.
They should not be able to run the ball on you. Their passing game stinks.
Still -7.5. So
listen, we are not ones, for the most part, crazy hyperbole with stuff. I think it's very fair to say, and anyone watching would agree, these next two games are must win. You're playing two of the worst teams in the league. Your schedule is going to get harder. You're clearly going to battle injuries off and on all season long. The week 1 injury already put you in a little bit of a hole because it was a divisional loss. Like, if you want to feel pretty good about winning 10 games, to me, you have to win these next two games. I mean, you're playing two teams. At the end of the day, Giants may win 5, Jets win 3. I mean, you're talking about two teams that are going to struggle combined to win 8 games, right?
Yeah.
So you got to win these games.
This is not what they've dealt with. Is not enough of an excuse these next 2 weeks.
Well, when you look at their schedule too, just think how many, probably 10-win teams they have on that schedule.
Right.
Their division could have. I mean, potentially all 3 could win 10 games in their division. Then teams like the Patriots are going to compete to win 10 games. The Bills are going to win 10 games. Safe to say the Packers are going to be really good. They play the Saints. Like, this division's a mother guy.
Here's the full schedule.
That's not easy.
No, I like you said, I think that the stretch that starts after Miami, and we saw they had some stretches last year where we went, okay, now's the time, and they came through them pretty well. But they got to get healthy they've got a month basically, right? That LA Rams game, they got a month. I think they can survive a month, kind of piecing it together. But they've got a month now to get people back and ready to roll.
I'd say worst case going into that LA game, guy, be 3-2. Find a way to win 3 of these next 4 games.
Yeah, can't be worse than that. You got to beat Miami. You got to beat New York. You got to beat New York. Philly, yeah. I think you should beat them based on what we saw week 1, but we'll see.
Yeah. To me, you just got to win 3 of the next 4, and then just stay around. 5-3, 5-4, 6-5, and you're just in the mix. But to me, if you put yourself in a hole where you're 2-3, where you drop, a game at one of these New York games, and then think about the pressure would be on those next 2 games going into that stretch, that would be terrifying for a team that, if they weren't to make the playoffs this year, even with the injuries, it's fair to say that would be a devastating year. Like, that would be just a gut punch for a franchise, right?
You know what we like to say at the end of the podcast, John? We'll end the video with this.
Time to eat?
Godspeed.
Oh, Godspeed.
Let us know what you think down in the comments below.